One of the things I love the most about living in Krakow is that it's a perfect place to educate yourself, entertain yourself, socialize, find some international friends and just live your life to the fullest.
Krakow is hip, full of life and students. It's one of Poland's top university cities and has a cosmopolitan vibe. What's it like to live here?
Hi, I'm Katarzyna. I'm 23 years old. I live and study literature in Krakow, and today I'll show you what my typical day is like. Come along. Hi, come on in. Welcome to my student's apartment. Well, actually, it's not completely mine, it's rented, and exclusively this room is what I would call my private space. As you can see, it's not much, but as a person who grew up with my sister in my room, sharing the room with my sister, I'm really grateful to have that.
The decor in her small room reflects what Katarzyna is passionate about. Books, plants, keepsakes, and above all, anything with a story.
I rarely buy new clothes, but when I do, it's usually second-hand, to be wise with your choices and with the planet. And I would say like 8 out of 9 pieces I own are probably thrifted.
She lives in a shared apartment. She shares a bathroom and kitchen with 2 roommates, but they don't have a common living room. She pays her rent through a scholarship and support from her parents.
The rent for this room in this apartment is around 1,200 zlotys, and it's quite cheap for almost the center of Krakow.
That's 280 euros for a room in a 1960s, 70s apartment block.
Most of these buildings were built during the People's Republic of Poland era, and these were meant to solve the housing problem when people were migrating to larger cities. And that's what I like about this neighborhood, that it's not a big of a fuss. The tourists rarely go there.
But rents are on the rise. It's already forced Katarzyna to move once.
And that's where I used to live for the first 4 years. And then the new proposed price was not acceptable. It was over 100% raise compared to my previous rent.
To get to campus, she takes the tram. Krakow has one of the densest tram networks in Poland. A yearly student pass costs 470 zloty, around 110 euros.
Usually the trams are on time, we have a lot of lines, and I can always find something that suits me. It's probably my favorite way to travel around the city.
Katarzyna is pursuing a master's degree in Polish and Jewish literature at the public Jagiellonian University, one of the oldest in Europe.
So now we're coming to one of my favorite libraries.
And her generation is more educated than any that have come before. Some 42% of Poles aged 25 to 34 hold a university degree. Among women, that tops 50%, among the highest in the EU. Working with books, especially reading them, is a part of her studies Katarzyna loves.
To study literature, you need to train your attention span to be able to concentrate on longer texts, and since for my generation and even the younger ones, it's getting more and more difficult, I think it's a nice training.
The university is spread across the city. In the Kazimierz district lie parts of the Institute of Jewish Studies. Up until the Holocaust, it had been a centre of Jewish culture. Today, it's one of the trendiest neighbourhoods. Katarzyna doesn't have a Jewish background herself. Like over 70% of Poles, she's a member of the Catholic Church.
I was brought up as a Catholic, and that was a very big part of my life. Actually, when I visited Jerusalem, it was part of a pilgrimage, I would say. And that's when I first saw the Jewish communities as a whole, because it was something rather unusual in Poland when I was growing up, and it still is.
Plac Nowy, the new square, is a popular meeting spot and the go-to place for a cheap, quick lunch. Zapiekanki, toasted open-faced baguettes, a Polish speciality.
So we've got some mushrooms in here, some green stuff, some tomatoes, and some sauce. Let's bite into it. Good as always.
Krakow attracts up to 10 million visitors a year. Katarzyna usually heads to tourist hotspots like the main market square to visit some very special friends of hers.
So I usually carry a little bag of seeds with me for the street birds, especially pigeons in Krakow, because they're very often treated poorly, and I think we owe them a bit of kindness, because there is a... Okay, I don't have enough for you guys. So there is a legend about the pigeons of the main square, and it says that every pigeon wandering around somewhere here is the cursed knight, the medieval warrior, in a form of a pigeon. Ale fajne masz to coś.
Dziękuję.
Cokolwiek to jest narzucone, zaraz znajdę.
This afternoon, Katarzyna is meeting her friend Christina just outside the Old Town. The two students show us their favourite spot.
Right now we are in the Solid Cafe, and what I really like about this place is that there is a cafe and sort of a bookstore. There is plenty of nice and affordable spaces to have lunch or coffee from a student's perspective. Places that are not necessarily dedicated or designed with the tourists in mind, but you need to know where to find it.
Katarzyna hopes to work in academia in the future, though it's a field with limited job openings. Still, her overall career prospects are solid. Youth unemployment in Poland stands at just over 10%, significantly lower than in many other EU countries.
If I'll be lucky enough to pursue with my academic life, then I would probably love to stay here. I would love to stay here anyway because I love this city. I'm not sure whether or not it will be possible with the cost of living, but for now I'll just try to navigate it in the best way possible. That was my typical kind of slow life day in Krakow. Do zobaczenia gdzieś tutaj na ulicach może.